Let's go live now to the United States and our correspondent Nick Harper, who is in Washington, D.C. Nick, US President Donald Trump has announced some extensive travel ban here. What does this all mean?
Yeah, some pretty drastic action from President Trump. For the next 30 days, starting at midnight on Friday, all flights, all travel from Europe to the United States will be suspended. Essentially, he doesn't want any Europeans coming to the US to spread coronavirus. He's saying that now is the time to protect Americans. There are some exceptions. People in the UK and Ireland will be able to come to the US. Americans who are in Europe will be able to come back to the US as long as they're properly screened. He made the announcement during a primetime address in the Oval Office. Now, in that address, he also said that trade would be affected, not just holidaymakers, but any trade coming from Europe to the US would also be affected. He's had to put out a tweet since then clarifying that trade would not be affected. It's not clear whether he misspoke or whether it was just written down wrong in his notes. But he's saying that trade will not be affected, but certainly very drastic action, suspending all of those flights. It'll have a huge impact on Europeans, but also on the airline industry, which is already suffering.
Yeah, so what's the reaction been? Because presumably this is going to have an enormous effect on tourism, business and their bottom lines.
Absolutely. I mean, if we just look at the instant reaction, the futures market for Wall Street reacted instantly to the news, falling fast. It looks like Wall Street will be opening about 5% lower when markets open on Thursday. Of course, that was not the reaction that President Trump was hoping for. He was hoping by giving this very presidential address, just the second time that he's done so from the Oval Office, it would secure markets. It would make them feel much more confident about this. But I think we're seeing such drastic action that investors and markets are concerned. And undoubtedly, during the course of Thursday, as people wake up in the US and begin to digest this news, they'll realise that things are changing in a very big way over the coming weeks. We've already seen colleges being closed. Large public gatherings have been told not to gather. People are beginning to work from home. There are big changes ahead. And President Trump, with this flight plan, is showing that very much now is the moment for America to act.
Obviously, he's trying to stem some of the economic fallout, at the same time announcing that, well, there'll be a stimulus package as well.
Yeah, a very large stimulus package, really trying to get people to spend more money by giving them a little bit more money. He's saying that he's going to ask Congress to release $50 billion to allow small businesses to get interest-free loans. He also wants to freeze payroll tax, probably for the rest of the year. Not exactly clear how long, but employers and employees will not have to pay that. He's really trying to get things moving and to make people feel a little bit more confident about the state of the economy. Of course, he has been largely criticised in recent weeks about not acting quickly enough, not having a good enough plan, contradicting his health advisors, and also downplaying the risks of the virus, minimising it each time he talked about it. I think this was an attempt for him to stem not just the economic fallout, but also the PR fallout that he's faced as well.
Nick, you mentioned gatherings of significant numbers of people, and the other thing that's happened today is the NBA has basically canned its season because, one player has turned up as coronavirus positive?
That's right, yeah. Just minutes before a game in Oklahoma, there was a flurry of activity when they realised that one of the people had tested positive, and they called that game off, and they said that all other games, when they finished around the country on Wednesday evening, that would be the end of the season. No more NBA games. That was on top of an announcement earlier from the NCAA, that's the College Basketball Association, saying that the big March Madness tournament would go ahead, but without any spectators, which is a huge blow because revenue-wise, they bring about $900 million annually from ticket sales, but also from TV rights. To not have fans in the stadiums will be a very big blow to them as well.